The daring and dramatic rescues unfolded all weekend across California and continued today. A devastating deluge triggering a flurry of emergency calls as the suddenly stranded were plucked from submerged cars, flooded roads, and homes that took on water. This woman who tried to cross a swamp street this morning, thanking rescue teams who likely saved her life.
If it wasn't for you guys, we'd be in a lot of trouble. And don't do nothing stupid like I did.
After days of relentless rain, Northern California was pummeled with the brunt of a powerful atmospheric river, a band of moisture pouring onto the coast. In San Francisco, where the city nearly broke its single-day rainfall record, pedestrians floated down busy streets. Others used kayaks or surfboards. Statewide, as roads remain impassable, some are still under evacuation orders.
It was like Mother Nature came alive and declared war on Sacramento.
In Sacramento County, where there's been at least one death, authorities are bracing for more.
I've worked for the Cosumnes Fire Department, or previously the Elk Grove Fire Department, for 21 years. This is the most significant flooding I've seen in this area.
Begin with that massive winter storm barreling across the country, wreaking havoc from coast to coast. More than 20 million Americans on alert. Heavy snow, dangerous ice, high winds, flooding rains, and at this hour, a tornado watch for parts of 5 states. Sirens and dark clouds seen near Paris, Arkansas this afternoon, the threat lasting into the night. It comes after historic rainfall in the west, a state of emergency in Sacramento County, multiple levee breaches, a person found dead in their flooded vehicle, tens of thousands losing power. In Fresno County, responders rescuing a 78-year-old man from his pickup truck as floodwaters rose around him. At higher elevations, heavy snow. Parts of I-17 closed near Sedona, Arizona, up to 5 feet of snow in parts of the Sierras. The avalanche risk is very high as well, this one closing a major road through Utah's Little Cottonwood Canyon. The track showing the snow and ice threat on the northern side of the storm. Severe storms and heavy rain to the south, stretching from the Gulf Coast to New England by tomorrow night. And tonight, that severe weather, including those tornado watches after dark. Ginger Z timing it all out. But first, ABC's chief national correspondent Matt Gutman leading us off in Sacramento County.
Tonight, an atmospheric river that slammed the west, fueling a massive storm system now sweeping across the country, impacting millions, bringing snow and ice to the heartland, driving treacherous in Colorado, and a tornado threat to parts of the south.
What you want to do is protect yourself with as many walls between you and the outside.
Over the weekend, the system hitting California with historic heavy rain. In San Francisco, restaurants and other businesses flooded.
We noticed the water started to pool on the street, and probably within 20 minutes or so, it was coming in the front.
And here in Sacramento County, authorities say that there are so many road closures they can't possibly count them. And with 2 levees failing, they have ordered evacuations here. And you can see why. Neighborhood after neighborhood, house after house inundated.
We're looking at Highway 99 as it runs north-south.
Parts of multiple key roadways underwater.
We rescued dozens of people from the rooftop of their vehicle or from the bed of their pickup truck when it became impossible for them to rescue themselves.
Authorities saying one person was found dead in a flooded vehicle. In Fresno County, a 78-year-old man pulled to safety after getting trapped in the fast-moving water. In the Sierra Nevada mountains, that system generating snowfall rates of more than 7 inches an hour.
This is kicking off the new year with severe weather. A winter storm bringing flooding and heavy snow to parts of California with evacuation orders in place. At least one person has died as the state braces for 2 more storms coming later this week. Here's ABC's Rena Roy.
Homes engulfed, cars floating through water, and roadways shut down as Northern California faces dangerous flash flooding. An atmospheric river dumping historic amounts of rain. ABC's Matt Gutman on the ground in Point Pleasant, where evacuation orders are in place.
The speed of this rushing water you're seeing behind me gives you a sense of the volume here.
San Francisco seeing its second wettest day on record with 5 inches of rain falling in the downtown area on Saturday.
Street flooding, house flooding, mudslides, rock slides, wires down, trees down.
Within 15 minutes, the garage door busted, cracked, and water just started pouring in. And this place was full in a half an hour. It was full.
At least 3 to 4 feet of floodwater rushing into this restaurant in San Francisco's Mission neighborhood.
We had half of us standing on these tables here, and the rest of them inside. And then at a certain point, it was clear that there was nothing to do, so we decided to evacuate.
The massive amount of rain causing at least 2 levees to fail. An entire community urged to seek higher ground. One man was found dead in his vehicle near the city of Elk Grove. In Fresno County, responders rescued the 78-year-old man from his pickup truck as floodwaters rose around him. Severe flooding near the city of Danville turned roads into fast-flowing rivers. Firefighters used kayaks to help this mom and her 2 young children.
On top of that, people are preparing for what could be one of the most impactful storms to strike the state in years. I want you to read what's on the screen here, because this is the National Weather Service in San Francisco stressing the widespread impacts in one of their forecast discussions. And it actually has some verbiage that is alarming, because they're trying to build that awareness that this is an event that you need to take seriously. If you look at the bottom there, Kiana, after all of the impacts, he lists likely the loss of human life possible because of this severe weather and the flash flooding concerns.
Yeah, it's definitely something scary to get, but again, we have to get that awareness out. We want you to be prepared for this system that pushes through.
Let's talk about what's happening out on the West Coast. They've just been battered with that atmospheric river. It's called a Pineapple Express because it's actually coming from the mid-latitudes from Hawaii. And so there's available moisture in an abundance, and you can see how it plays out. There's Castro Valley yesterday. There's San Francisco yesterday. It is widespread where you have all of this rain that is coming down and it's going into people's home. It's racing down this staircase. It was a second floor. That was the second story where that water was racing into. Today, you kind of have the break in the action and then a major wave that pushes through tomorrow into Thursday. You've heard some of the local meteorologists, even out of the Bay Area, and they are saying they haven't seen anything like this in decades. And so this is the major concern moving ahead. There's the potential for life-threatening situations.
Absolutely right. The next storm is on the way. You can see it here out over the open Pacific right now, but the intense band of precipitation and all that moisture with it is working its way to California. Again, it's going to be here in just a few hours.
A big part of what the center does to keep you safe during high water is facilitate discussions between reservoir operators. The center makes sure all the appropriate agencies are talking together and not making decisions alone.
You know, some of the things we've done, flood fight materials and equipment have been pre-positioned at 38 locations statewide. Levee inspectors have been deployed and are actively performing levee inspections across the state. Flood fight specialists have been deployed to help locals assess critical locations along leveed segments of flood control systems.
You'll remember that flooding in Wilton we first told you about over the weekend, which left several residents stranded at home with no way.
A little bit nervous.
I'm pretty scared about what's happening next.
A lot of people are preparing for it.
Thousands of people coming in, man. We've been working nonstop since 7 o'clock.
Sandbags, one of the hottest items in the Bay Area right now as people gear up to avoid a possible weather disaster.
Now, the Bay Area braces for a mega storm. When the heaviest rain will arrive, where it will be the most severe, and just how much we can expect.
When it comes to storm protection, it could sometimes be too late by the time people respond to major rain and flooding. But just days after the South Bay was pelted, residents recognized the significance of preparing.
Very important.
Yeah, why so?
Don't want any damage. The big one's coming in tomorrow, so I got to be prepared. Well, I don't want to be caught with my pants down.
Valley Water has a similar message. They were happy to see people grabbing sandbags before the storm, but say it's also important for people to sign up for emergency alerts, have a plan, and know if your home is at risk of flooding.
All those normal places that, you know, those people who live in those neighborhoods know, hey, when the water's really coming, they see those creeks rising, you know, we're asking those people to definitely be prepared.
That includes areas along the Uvis Creek in South County, an issue we've seen before. The upper Penitencia Creek and especially along the Guadalupe River.
There's a lot of people along these waterways, and I don't know, how many were actually going to be alerted to the fact that this atmospheric river is going to be, coming in.
Steve Holmes and the South Bay Clean Creek Coalition have been going up and down the rivers, warning people to move out of the areas for their own safety. He also asked they take all their belongings with them, so the cleanup after a storm like this isn't as much to deal with.
Typically, it'll take about 10 cleanups to get in here and get all of the shredded plastic, the aluminum, the batteries, all the harmful materials that were in those encampments that have sort of been swept down with the storm waters.
Along with trash, people can get swept down the river as well. We were in this exact spot in November when a rescue had to happen to save someone living in an encampment along the river. Rain and wind events like this don't happen often, and it's the work done ahead of time that could save lives.
When a storm like this comes, like you saw in that last storm that came, really flooding can happen anywhere. So you need to be prepared for the possibility that it could flood in your area.
Water pumps, rain boots, tarps, you name it, anything that can save you and your property from getting wet is selling fast before tomorrow's storm hits. It's led to a flurry of business at hardware stores across the Bay Area. Center Hardware and Supply Company in San Francisco saw a steady stream of customers loading up on protective equipment today. That includes a run on sump pumps. One hardware store staffer says the added equipment is helpful, but small measures like clearing your storm drains can be just as helpful in preventing flooding.
Now, we were told by the city that the type of response we will see from crews and first responders here in San Francisco could be similar to a response generated following an earthquake.
As the clock struck midnight on New Year's Eve, Northern Californians were dealing with downed trees, power lines, and flooded roadways. This is what Highway 99 looked like on Sunday. Officials found a body inside of a car swept away by the water.
Climbed to the top of my car. It just, the water was rising and the firefighter showed up with a big truck. And they told me, save yourself, the water is rising, you have to leave the area.
One day of clear skies and sunshine is what separates that storm from the one expected to hit Northern California on Wednesday, before heavy rain makes its way down to San Diego on Thursday. County officials warning everyone to be cautious if they need to hit the roads.
We say turn around, don't drown, and there's a reason for that. Floodwaters are pretty dangerous. When you're driving through standing water, you don't know how deep it is, and you don't know how fast the water is moving.
California Governor's Office of Emergency Services said in a press release that they are prepping flood fighting materials. They said the State Operations Center is currently operating 24 hours a day to support regional and county emergency operations centers.
Heavy rain turning Cameron Park driveways into riverbeds Saturday afternoon. Sandbags working overtime to keep water from flowing into homes.
It's pretty wild. A little anxious watching the water rise.
But some couldn't escape its powerful course.
We have new neighbors that are completely flooded, and we're pretty close to being there. So
homes flooded along Norwood Drive.
A brutal winter storm is about to drop a bomb on California. Just days after a record-breaking weather event slapped parts of the state with widespread, deadly flooding and significant mountain snow, another, possibly even stronger system is expected to wallop the West Coast starting Wednesday. Forecasters are using the terms atmospheric river and bomb cyclone. Basically, we should expect heavy rain, strong winds, and the possibility of flash flooding up and down California's coast. The major concern in several communities in Southern California, which sit at the base of wildfire burn areas, is the cyclical threat of mudslides and debris flows. LA County emergency officials have issued evacuation warnings for the Lake Hughes and Kings Canyon areas. The Lake and Bobcat fires decimated vegetation on the hillsides and left burn scars. Pine Canyon Road, for example, is still lined with heavy mud from recent rainfall. Now it's time to stack sandbags, gather basic supplies, critical medications, and paperwork, and be ready to move quickly if the need arises. People in the foothills of Duarte are on high alert, with more than 24 homes in an area which is historically prone to flooding.
I live down towards the stop sign, but
for many, many days. There was a lot of mud and it kept raining and using the sandbags to try to push it off so it didn't come up the driveway.
I think that I would avoid it, but because I just learned, and I don't think anyone wants to be caught in a flood, right? That has to be very scary.
Public works crews in Orange County are wasting no time ahead of the rough weather.
Our crews have put out sandbags along public roadways here in Silverado Canyon and other canyon areas as well. We've made sandbags available for residents before the storm, and that's something we ask for residents to do, is to be proactive.